I'm gonna go by and talk to you about each one of these and tell you what the advantage and disadvantages are. Okay, so the first one that I wanna talk to you about is a fixed window. So, do you want me to turn it? This is the fixed window. It is very, very inexpensive. It looks great, but it's very inexpensive. Can you tell me what the biggest disadvantage of this thing is?
It doesn't open.
No, it can't open it.
It can't open it.
If you break it, you have to replace the whole thing, so this is a small thing.
The one?
If it's broken, you have to replace the whole
Oh,
thing, so this
yeah,
is a small
definitely,
thing.
you have to replace the whole thing. But even like that, it would be less expensive. The problem with this, big time problem, is when we have, God forbid we don't have any, but when we have a hurricane, or we have a power outage, like we had last weekend, you know, we had a power outage. You know, if we cannot open a window, we fry in there, okay, because of the heat. And that's the reason why this kind of window is not the best window in the world to use here in South Florida, because of the fact that you cannot open it. That's a big disadvantage. But the advantage is that it looks nice. It's a really nice looking window, and that is cheap.
You call it a picture window.
It's a picture window. And many of the little houses in Coral Gables, you know, at the beginning they weren't very expensive. Now the houses there are very expensive, even the tiny little ones. And they had the porch. You know, houses in 1950s were rather small. And those houses were really, really tiny. And many of them were built in 1920, not even 1950, 1920. And what people have done is, since they have bought the house, they need more room because we have more things than in 1920. So what they would do is they take the porch and they put these fixed windows on them. So what happens there when the sun hits it in the south? It's an oven. So you have this toaster oven in front of your house, okay? Which happens to be these fixed windows. So the advantage of it is that it's cheap and it looks great, but the disadvantage of this is that you cannot open it. And it's very important to open it. The next one that I want to talk to you is the casement window. The casement windows are rather common, okay? They open with a crank like this, and they're really good. If they look, they can be very clean looking, like this. They open with a crank, and the advantage is that they can open 100%, okay? Well, if you want to be technical, it won't be a completely 100% because of the fact that it could never open 100%. But we can say that it opens pretty much 100%. And the disadvantage is that if you have a porch or something like that, when you open it up, you have to make sure that you have enough room on the outside to accept the window being open, okay? Because that's a problem. Let's say that you have a very small porch and you have these windows opening onto the porch. It would be, you know, you can't have them. So the disadvantage is that you need room on the outside for them to open. But the advantage is that they can open 100%. And these are called casements.
So those windows would be better for an apartment, per se, than for a house?
An apartment or a house where, you know, you have a lot of grass around it, or planters, you know, that are not interrupting, that you don't have a terrace right in the back of it and you're interrupting the circulation of the terrace. But if you have it in an apartment or in a house, as long as you have the room outside to be able to accept the opening is fine. You can do that. And these are double hung. Okay, they don't have to be colonial. They can be nice and clean if you want to. And these double hung are great because they open, and you do not need any room on the outside. It doesn't need any room on the outside to open. So this is great if you have a terrace like over there, like you have a terrace right next to it, and you can't afford the space of opening like a casement. This is perfect. But the disadvantage is that you can only open it 50%. You can only open the bottom part or the top part, okay? So when I show you this picture, you're going to identify it as double hung, and I'm gonna ask you to name the advantages, and the advantage is that it doesn't need any room on the outside to open, but the disadvantage is that it can only open 50%.
It's also cheaper than the basement.
Yes, but the really good quality is still, it could,
Oh, yeah.
can still be expensive. And I'm showing you this because you can have a really nice room with a lot of windows, and it can still have windows that open. You know, in this case, you have a combination of the fixed up here and the fixed down here, but then you have the double hung in the middle. So, you know, it looks nice, and it doesn't have to be all fixed. You can have fixed on the top, fixed on the bottom, and double hung in the middle. So at least you have that can be all open. You
Excuse-
can use it in a combination.
Excuse me, miss. The fixed in the bottom, those have to be tempered? Because they're,
Because they
Yes.
have to, as long as they're lower than 18.
yeah,
Yes, yeah.
but not the ones on top.
No, they don't.
Okay.
If this is more than 18 inches, then the window does not have to be tempered. But you know what? Tempered is not that expensive. So I would temper everything just
In case.
just in case. You know, you never know. Just in case for safety, I would temper everything. And if I had the money, I would put everything impact resistant glass, because then you don't need shutters.
And you can also put impact 18 inches below?
Yes,
Okay.
impact resistant glass should be all of it. Because if, you know, you don't have control over what debris goes in with wind blown debris.
Right.
So if I had my way of being able to do my glass, and if I had the budget, because it costs a lot of money, I would do everything impact resistant, laminated glass. That's what I would do. And that way, I don't have to worry about putting any shutters up. This is the sliding window. The sliding window is like a sliding glass door. And of course, the obvious disadvantage is what? What do you think? They can only open 50%. But the advantage is that you don't need room on the outside to open. So you can use this in a terrace, if there's a terrace behind, or anything that you don't have a lot of room, you can use a sliding window, just like a sliding door. So the advantage is that you don't need room on the outside to accept the window opening, but you do, the disadvantage is that it only opens 50%. And these awning windows, you're used to seeing many awning, you know, not just one, but you're used to seeing a gang of them, you know, that they open completely. These are very, very common here. The awning, again, the same thing. It can open 100%, but disadvantage is that it needs room on the outside to open. I wanted to show you this because I did this in another house that I had, and what we did is we did this awning on the bottom, awning on the top here. I had an awning on the top and fixed in the middle. And why do you think this was such a, it was really good. Why do you think it was such a good thing?
The hot air runs.
Circulation.
Goes out.
Yes, because it creates